What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Post and host of HBCU Post Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today. Well, listen, it's the spring right now as we're recording this. Football season's over. It's basketball season right now, March Madness. But listen, it's also NFL draft season. And you already know in HBCU football, you already know we got guys here. We got one guy that's really the man that really does things. We all see him. We all talk about him. We got Davius Richard in the building, North Carolina Central quarterback, draftee in the building. And I'm going to go on and speak life to this. He's going to be the first HBCU quarterback drafted since 2006 in the building. How you doing, Davius?
I appreciate it, man. I'm doing good. How about you?
Man, I'm great, man. I want people to know on the podcast radio feed, I got my Lamar Jackson jersey on because number one, I want to, come with a little drip. People gonna watch this interview and listen to this interview, so I got to drip a little bit. But also, I want you to get drafted by the Ravens. It would be cool if you drafted by the Ravens and you run that RPO with Derrick Henry. That'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But man, listen, I'm pretty good. So first and foremost, how's everything going? How you feeling leading to the draft process? How's everything going with you?
It's definitely been an experience. Just being the first time to go through it, and then just knowing a couple guys, talking to them about their process. But it's just like different actually going through it. But I've been embracing it day by day, the good and the bad times. But I've been enjoying it. Like, it's honestly a blessing to go through it.
I feel that. So you're currently still a student at North Carolina Central, right?
Yes, sir. Pursuing my MBA.
So how is that? So you're a student and you like this HBCU football starter quarterback, and you trying to get drafted in this historic position. So how is that?
It can be difficult at times as far as just like time management. You know, you got to turn in work and things of that nature. But I mean, one of my main goals going to school was to get a degree. And I was thankful enough to graduate with one in 2022. And also having the ability to pursue my master's during my last season of play and continue as you mentioned earlier, like right now. So just been really just trying to balance that out, make sure I make time for it.
I love it. So let's really go back in time because you at North Carolina Central, getting your MBA, making it happen, but you chose North Carolina Central as your HBCU. So I want to ask you that. What made you choose North Carolina Central as your HBCU?
For real, it all comes down, I feel like, when I took my visit. Like leading up into the process when I started talking to Central, Coach Oliver, it was just like a lot of talk. But one of the big impressions that he did that made an impression on me and my family was coming down to Florida, make sure he meet me face to face and meet my support face to face. And then once I went on my visit, it was basically the same thing. You know, they had the little orientation and things of that nature, telling me the game plan. One of the game plans as far as football-wise, he emphasized was if you want to play for a championship, this is going to be the program. So that kind of stuck with me. And then just also the academic game plan as far as like me picking my major and deciding what I wanted to do. And then just like really that, being able to talk to some of the guys that was on the team from a year previously and that was able to see the previous head coach and Coach Oliver from that spring. And then just talking to them, talking to the support staff as far as the academic team, and then just even some like the custodian people and like the cafeteria people. When I went up there, it didn't feel like I was far from home, being from Florida. That's like a 9-10 hour drive from NC to Florida. But so I went up there, it didn't feel that far. Like it felt like I was at home. So I ended up committing before I left that Sunday to go back to Florida. And I mean, the rest was history after I signed that paper.
I love that. So when it comes down to it, so were there any other schools that were in the rotation outside of North Carolina Central?
Yeah, so the way my recruiting played out was kind of a little tricky. Going at the end of my senior season, I ultimately had Colgate, Delaware State, and Alabama A&M. I was leaning more towards Alabama A&M, but I think they had like a coaching style change or whatever. So the coach that was recruiting me there ended up going to Central. And I guess him and Oliver talked about it. They started recruiting me in January. Then at that time, it was really Central, a couple D2s, some prep schools, and EKU kind of entered the picture a little late leading up into my visit. But like I said, according to, to the conversations I had over the phone with him and office coordinator at the time, and then just going up there, I kind of knew, like, before I left, I knew that where I wanted to go at.
I love it, man. Listen, you and the SWAC would have been interesting. Tell you that, we wouldn't know A&M.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting. But man, listen, you where you needed to be, man. You were at North Carolina Central making it happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through each year. and we're going to talk about each year in its totality and also some events that happened during that year. So let's talk about 2019. So tell us about that first year, your freshman year.
Yeah, I still remember like it was yesterday, even though it's about 4 years ago. Reported camp in July. Like for the first time, I remember orientation, going through the class, scheduling, then ultimately moving into my dorm for the first time. Like I had like 2 hours, move into the dorm, and we had a team meeting the same day. And then just walking into the auditorium, seeing just like a whole bunch of new faces, like surreal. Like it was like the realization, like, damn, I'm done with high school. Like I'm here with nobody that I know, like from a can of paint. But so you got some workouts getting in the camp. I already kind of knew I was going to be kind of in the back half of the depth chart, just being a freshman. Them having 2 previous veterans coming back, along with some transfers coming in. So my mindset was really just like, all right, let me just make sure I know the offense as much as I can, just in case I'm never called upon, and then just really focus on school, get ahead of that, make sure I start off on a good foot. Then, like you may know, ultimately, around like the 3rd game of that season, my name was called, and then I still ended up starting the rest of the season.
So how do you get prepared for that? Because I know that in those moments, like, you're talented. You had these different schools that were going for you, and you got to sort of wait for that opportunity till you got that 3rd game. So, like, how does it feel to sort of stay prepared and stay ready? Like, how do you do that?
I think it's all a mindset thing. Like, you probably talk to a lot of guys that's in the NFL that's like on either practice squad, 2nd string, 3rd string. It's like a mindset of just coming in like you starter, like treating every day like you starter. So, like I said, my biggest emphasis will make sure I get that playbook as fast as possible, just in case my name was called. Like I never expected it to be called so soon, but I knew I took the steps to be prepared for it. So that was kind of like my mindset, just kind of like, basically, like I was still in high school, like I was the starter at my high school. I came in the same mentality as far as my work ethic and my determination.
I love that. So let's talk about really something that feels like a relic of history, man, like COVID, man, 2020, like things got shut down. Like it's been 4 years ago, but it feels like it's been 15. It feels like I'm reading in a history book somewhere. So like you were going through it, like you were in school. Cause I know for me, 2019, that was my senior year. So I graduated from Fort Valley State University in fall 2019. So I had to go and be an adult in that. But you were not only a student, you were a student athlete in that at an HBCU. So tell us about how 2020 was like for you.
No, it's funny because you said it felt like so long. It's already in the books, like as far as the curriculum in high school and stuff. I done seen pictures. They already talking about it. So, but it was interesting, especially coming into that spring, like, first year coming from a small town and then just being in the college atmosphere. Is like you hear a lot of things that go on through the spring as far as like spring ball, spring fling, like all the events or the spring type events that's going on as far as especially being at HBCU. So kind of all that stuff kind of get you riled up. So leading into it, we go to spring break. First spring break, I go back home and just chill. So like mid spring break, I'm already ready. Like, all right, we're about to get back. We're about to start spring ball. Like it's gonna be my first spring ball. We're about to get ready. And then you get that email. It's like, you know what? We finna extend y'all spring break a couple of days. I'm like, cool. Who gonna argue with that? Like, you're telling me I can stay home a couple of days? That's cool with me. So we get that email. The couple of days go by. Next thing you know, you get another email. It's about, COVID's happening. We just gonna y'all gotta come next time. Come back up here. Y'all just gotta move y'all stuff out. Like school basically over as far as like in person. Gonna shift everything online. Just gonna move it to online things. Next time you come up here, you're gonna schedule when you gotta move your stuff out of the dorm. So that whole transition was kind of just like shocking. Where I was like, I didn't know how to feel. And then just leading to that summer, everybody asking the coaches, are we gonna be cool? Like what the season looking like, this and that. Everybody got positive hopes saying, no, we still on this and that, da. So leading up until like when fall camp's supposed to start. So we starting to talk about when we coming back for fall camp, this and that, when we supposed to report back. We getting dates and things, but at the same time, it's not solidified, it's not set in stone. So we still kind of bouncing around. And then ultimately, like towards the beginning of fall camp, towards the beginning of the season, we just got that. I remember getting notice from the coaches like, yeah, we're not gonna do nothing this season. Like we're not gonna have a season. We still gonna practice, things that nature, but we're not gonna have a season. So when we came back in the fall, it was just really just basically the whole population was just student athletes as far as like football players and other fall sports. So we was just practicing the whole fall against each other. So you could just kind of feel like how that can just build up as far as like the eagerness to play, especially just coming off the freshman season, not expecting to play. Everybody just, you know what, we were so close. Like we did a lot of good things. We did some bad things. During the spring, we kind of critiqued that, you know, we need to build on. And then just, like I said, that COVID, that extended spring break into the summer, I'm just home. Like, man, my homeboys, we at home working out. Like, you know, we got to get ready for the season. We did some our freshman year, but we trying to come back strong. So the whole summer, we just grinding, just to come back and say we didn't have a season. To the fall, we practicing the whole fall just against each other. Then get a little bit more hope. December come around and say, all right, we didn't have a fall season. We're gonna have a spring season. So we're gonna have fall camp in December. I still remember we was came back like after everybody left in December, had a couple practices, went back home for the winter break, expected to come back and be ready to play a little season. Came back, ultimately, we was decided, the team or the conference or whoever decided, like, you know what, we're not going to do it. We're just going to wait till the next fall. So next thing you know, again, we got a whole another spring just practice against each other. Whole summer just seeing each other. So that just kind of built up all the anticipation of heading into that next season. Like, I'm ready to put some pads on and go against somebody else. We can't talk about teammates like that. We only can thud as much. We can't talk all that. So we just thud and say the same people every day. Like, man, I'm trying to get that fresh new feeling again, get that coming out the tunnel feeling, getting that first game of the season feeling. So it just kind of just like all built up. But one thing I can say, unfortunately, like things that happened as far as COVID, but I feel like that played a big part in my development as far as like my collegiate career, because I had that whole time to really get to understanding like the playbook and better fine tune my mechanics and things of that nature and become a better quarterback overall.
I love it. I was actually going to hit on that. Like, I feel as if that time, how you're talking about it, is that during that COVID experience, you were working, you were in the lab, you were making things happen. So when you get to that 2021 season and things happen, like you ready to go, it's been a minute since you played football. So like, how was that 2021 season?
I still remember the first game we had MEAC versus SWAT Challenge versus Alcorn. Like, I remember fall camp, how hell was fall camp was going through it, the heating, meetings all day, practice and things of that nature. And then just leading up, we know, all right, we got a week 0 game. Like, we're going to be the first game of the season. So just leading up to that, ultimately getting to the Atlanta planning and the MEAC versus SWAT Challenge, I remember, like, I'm more of like a cool, calm, and collected type person as far as facial expressions on the field. I know how to keep myself composed. But I still remember, like, that game coming out from the locker room, kicking off, we had to run across the field from out the tunnel. And I remember running across the field, seeing all the fans just being memorized, like, dang, I ain't feel this feeling like a whole year. And getting to the sideline, you know, do my usual prayer. And I just got up and I just felt like a rushing of emotions. Like, I started tearing up for some reason, like, not, you know, sad tear, just like, I was just ready. Like, I was ready. And it's like, ultimately, it just came up into tears. Like, I'm just ready to go out there and just play. And then I still remember the first play, read option, and I read and got tackled. And it was like, after that, it was like, we back. Like, we back in motion. And then that's kind of just led into the whole game, you know, coming out with the upset. A lot of people probably thought we was going to lose that game. It was come out with a hot foot, came out and beat them. Then ultimately just ended out the season pretty good on a good note.
Man, listen, you had some success against the SWAC, man. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, this is just the facts.
Hey, they say real footballers in the MEAC.
Oh, man, you got to get supposed mad.
Hey, I'm living MEAC. I don't want to spill, but like, even FAMU, they came from the MEAC. Like,
good point. That's a good point.
Real football in the MEAC. The SWAT know that. Whoever want to talk, we can speak. Like, I'm standing on that.
Okay, listen. This gonna be the part of the interview. They're gonna be like, wait a minute. They're gonna be like, wait a minute. Because like,
they already know. They already know. Because they'll say the same thing. You know, it's a little love-hate relationship. Anytime we against each other, hey, we going at it. But if it's HBCU versus anybody else, we're gonna cut it. You know, we cut together.
Hey, listen, that's the big fest. That almost fast forward 2023. But I want to really get to 2022 since we're talking about it. Listen, a 10-2 season overall, 9-2 regular season, then 10-2 season with that Celebration Bowl victory. Since we talking about MEAC versus the SWAC, listen, I could not have you on this interview and not talk about 2022 Celebration Bowl. I'm not trying to bring back up Deion Sanders. I'm not trying to throw shade at nobody. We love Jack State. We love all HBCUs. But listen, that Celebration Bowl was a moment. And I really want to know if you felt the way that we felt about that Celebration Bowl, man. So first and foremost, tell us about your thoughts leading into it, the successful season, making things happen, and then you're in the Celebration Bowl. Tell us how you were feeling going into that game.
I was really just before going to that game, it was like just a feeling of appreciation. Because I like to say that it didn't just happen that season. Like, it built it up since my freshman year. As far as you look at the statistics, as far as I reckon, you just see the improvement. It's like, all right. And then on top of that, the previous season we came close. We what our record was, I think 6-4. But we was at the end of the season, we was banking on some like other MEAC teams as far as the matchups to go a certain way so we can get into that picture. But ultimately it didn't. South Carolina State went. So it was like we still had that kind of bitter taste. Like, dang, we were so close. We could have had it. We almost was there. Like, we was gonna be in the chip game, but unfortunately we didn't do what we're supposed to do. We were too busy trying to focus on making sure somebody else did it for us. So coming to that season at 2023, we was like, came into that mindset of like, all right, we got that little taste as far as like how close we was. Like, do we want to kind of end in that same boat? Like, once this season end, or like we're gonna take matters into our own hands and just, handle our business? So that just kind of put it all into perspective as far as the success to that season. Like, a lot of those guys on the team, we been there since 2019. A lot of those guys been there since 2018. So we seen the ugly part as far as these programs, as far as that 4-6 season, my freshman year, almost getting up in 21. So we already been through kind of the hard rebuild things and just building up. So this season was kind of like, we're going to make our mark. So leading into, after we done found out we was going, we wanted MEAC, it was just like, all right, yeah, it's game time. It's time to go. And then just leading up into the game. And then the thing we do is I kind of like to say we pride ourselves in not being like a social media team. So like, people going to have their score predictions. That's people's job to do things of that nature as far as get predictions and things of that nature. But we try not to bite into it and let it feed into us. We like to put our head down and work and worry about whatever they're saying on social media. So going into that game, of course, you got the score predictor. They saying, heavily favored Jackson State. I mean, I understand. They was coming to the game with 11-0, I think. 11-0, 10-0, they was coming to that game. So I understand. Then they beat teams that we had fell short to, like one of our losses was to Campbell that year. And then they beat Campbell home, I believe. So it's like, I understand why they're getting all the hype. But at the same time, it's like, we here for a reason too. Like, we didn't just walk. We didn't just like, hey, you know what? We're going to put out a raffle. Y'all going. We worked to get here. So just kind of hearing that and seeing that kind of just added fuel to the fire as far as like how we approach the game. But we approach like every game that season like that way. That's why we end up being there. So like I said, leading up to the game, hearing all the score prediction, things of that nature. Then ultimately getting to Atlanta. For the most part, we were separate as far as team-wise. Then we had like a dinner that night as far as we was on this side, Jackson State on that side. Then you can kind of just feel the intensity in the air. I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday night, but you can feel the intensity in the air as far as just like to get those guest speakers out there speaking and stuff. But it's kind of like you just can feel it. You can feel it building up. Ultimately leading up into pregame, and then just having to share the field and things of that nature, things going down, whatever. It kind of just like, all right, we can't. Our coach always say, hey, you can't do nothing. You know what you can do? Go put that Rodell on, put hands and feet on it. So we was really just waiting to that kickoff to do so. And now coming now, I remember like our first drive. I want to say it was the first play. We had the run play to gave it the move. First play hit it for like 10 yards. And once I see it now, I was like, oh yeah, it's finna be serious. It's finna be a game. Because we came in knowing they can put up points, knowing it was gonna be a close game. But it was gonna be whoever made the fewest mistakes and whoever fought all the way until the clock hit 0-0-0. And ultimately, that's what we did. That's why we came out victorious. Not saying they gave up or anything, but we just came in there with a different mindset.
Yeah, for sure. It was a fight. And you talking about that moment, the moment that really got me, I'm watching, I'm at home, I'm watching on ABC. You got Travis Hunter. He's the guy doing good things at Colorado, playing, wide receiver, defensive back. So it's like, hey, you don't throw the ball over to a defensive back that's like that. You threw that ball and then it went far. He caught it. And I thought it was going to be a touchdown. I was like, yo, this is different. I was like, because they always said, don't throw the ball his way. No, you were like, There it goes. You ain't care. Like that was the part that was tough to me. And just you said like essentially like you heard like the score predictions, you heard different stuff. I want to say number one at HBCU Post Radio, we picked y'all. Okay, we were saying, hey, listen, North Carolina Central we're gonna win. And my co-host Ariel Kilgore, she's a North Carolina A&T alumna. She's an Aggie, but she was like, nah, Davius Richard like that the whole entire year. She was covering me at. You say y'all would like that. So listen, a lot of folks switch up on interviews and be like, no, we picked y'all. Nah, go back and look at the YouTube. We was like, North Carolina Central is going to win that, right? But the thing about it is so crazy about that buildup is going into the SWAC championship, you know, Deion, Coach Prime, he leaves. We find he's leaving Jackson State to go to Colorado. So we find out that he's staying on for the game, and that's going to be his final game. And the whole entire thing was, hey, we're going to bring Jackson State the Celebration Bowl. So there was so much intensity behind that because on our side, as folks that's not on the field, they're not even North Carolina Central alumni, we're like, hey, HBCU football is valuable and it's more than just like Jerry Rice or Shannon Sharp. We got guys like Davius Richard right now. So it's like, it feels as if like, hey, we're leaving this side. We're going to leave with y'all's championship and go to Colorado with it. So we all intense like, nah, like this HBCU football, North Carolina Central 9-2. And you look at the stats, y'all stats was identical to Jackson State at that point. Y'all was really the same team in the box score on paper. So like, I want to know if y'all felt that even if y'all were blocking out the social media noise, did y'all feel like we represented HBCU football? Was it just another game?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But we know we was really think we was representing me at the end of the day. Like no matter who goes to the Celebration Bowl, it's at the end of the day it's MEAC versus SWAC. We like to pride ourselves on the MEAC. So we knew we was playing for just more than just us. We was playing more for just that team. It was going to be like a legacy, especially just to North Carolina Central and to their history as far as being the first one in D1 history to do so. So we know we was playing for much bigger stakes. It wasn't just like for our pride or us for that season. It was like a lot at stake, or like a lot of people was kind of, you can say, counting on us and things of that nature. So it was, we had a sense of feeling like it was just more than just about us. So yeah, you can say that.
Man, listen, I was counting on you. When I tell you, Davius, when y'all won, and it was the play because you score first. You score first, like this QB sneak in the end zone, first score. Then, you know, Shador has it. They have the things that happen. And then there was like that, I think that fourth down, he throws it. The guy don't catch it. I hopped up in the air. I almost sprained my ankle. I was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I can't now. I was about to be injured. I was about to be injured reserve, out for the season. Because I'm telling you, I almost sprained my ankle because I was so excited because that was a big moment, not just for the one time thing of, oh, he's leaving, going to Colorado. It was a big moment for you all because like when you win a championship in sports, how we look at it is like you're immortalized in history. So you have a lot of great players that are overlooked that didn't win a championship. But it's like, man, you're one of the, to me, it's a lot of people, one of the best HBCU quarterbacks. You win in that big way with like 2.7 million people 2.4 million people watching on ABC. Like that was big. So I want to kind of ask you this because, you know, you blocked out the noise. You want to represent the MEAC and you sort of understood sort of the representation of, hey, we're representing for HBCUs. But how did it feel in that moment with that whole entire journey to win that Celebration Bowl?
Well, it was just, like I said, I think what made it so much satisfying is like knowing what we went through to get there. Like I said, it wasn't just that season. To me, it was from my freshman year, knowing like what we went through my freshman year, just building up to it. And then like a lot of the times, I mean, leading up to the game, the coach was always saying like, how you said, be cemented in history. He was like, this going to be the game. Like you win 20, 30 years down the line, you coming back to be recognized at halftime during homecoming, things of that nature. Like, this how y'all write y'all name on the board. This how y'all put y'all name right up there on the stadium. Put it on the wall. Put y'all names in the record books by doing this. So that was that played a big part into it, knowing like once we win this game, just not like a one-time win. Like we gonna come down back 20, 30 years down the line where everybody kind of moved on different parts of the USA or the world, different jobs, family, kids, or whatever it may entails. And then we all can come back and have that moment. Like, bro, you remember what we went through this season? You remember that 10-2 season? You know, remember after South Carolina State, how we felt thinking about this, da-da-da, how we lost to Campbell, thinking about this. When we went up to New Hampshire, beat New Hampshire, like thought about this, da-da-da. It's like those moments gonna just matter so much more when we cement it in history. So it's like knowing that and knowing what we could build and what this gonna entail as far as just like North Carolina Central and HBCU, where it was like that kind of just like it had added to the motivation.
What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes with HBCU Pulse. And listen, I want to let y'all know that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And listen, BetterHelp is actually one of my favorite sponsors. You want to know the reason why? Because I use BetterHelp. Yes, I use BetterHelp, and I'll do you one better. I actually had a BetterHelp therapy session earlier today. Open my mind. Therapy is so important. And first and foremost, I want to say shout out to BetterHelp for everything that they're doing, the system, the setup, the vibe, everything about BetterHelp. I love the way to communicate with your therapist, the way you can do worksheets, you can journal, you can share it with your therapist, and you can help them be along with you for your journey. That is why I love BetterHelp. It's helping me grow. It's helping me process a lot of things that I went through back in the day, in the past, when I was younger, a few years ago, even some things going on now and helping me grow into a better person, because that's what therapy does. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/HBCU today to get 10% off your first month of therapy. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HBCU to get 10% off your first month of therapy. And of course, like always, tell them Randall sent you. I love that. So we're going to get back to the Celebration Bowl in 1 second, but we're going to move to that 2023 season, because you all, this is literally just happened. It's been a few months ago. So it's like just watching the season, man, like it was so crazy, because I feel like just watching your level of play, it was a whole other level that you rose to. It just felt like it felt like North Carolina Central in general, the whole entire team. It felt like Coach Oliver, it was like a whole different level y'all were tapping into. Like when y'all beat like Elon and y'all was beating all these other teams, I was like, man, it's crazy. And I had y'all beating UCLA. I just wanted to say that. I wrote a whole article about that on Clutch Points. Okay, I was like, they go upset UCLA, but like it was just a whole other level you all stepped up to. So I want to ask you sort of just your opinion on how that 2023 season went.
I mean, ultimately, it didn't go the way we wanted to. We wanted to two-peat. We wanted to be back in the Celebration Bowl. But, I mean, you can always just look at the negatives or just appreciate the positives. I mean, we did finish 93. We did go to the playoffs for the first time in school history. So it was a lot of good throughout that season. Like you said, we started off hot. Was undefeated at one point versus CAA. Going against those, Elon, Campbell, and T. So it was a lot of good into that season. And, like, we knew we was going to come into that season with targets on our backs, just winning the championship. So we already knew every game we was going to play, it was going to be like that team Super Bowl, no matter who it was. I'm like, oh, they think they all it is, they want this and that. No, we finna show them this ain't that. So we already knew coming into each and every game, we was going to get their best. No matter who the team was, where we was playing at, we was going to get their best just because of what we did the previous season.
Man, so I got to ask you about this, right? So we're going to talk about the playoffs and the Celebration Bowl. And this the part I'm going to let you know that a lot of folks are going to really be looking at, because it's such a big debate in the HBCU Twitter, or I guess X streets now, all right, about the playoffs versus Celebration Bowl, because here's sort of the layout of it, and I want to get your opinion on it. So how we look at the Celebration Bowl is, as HBCU students and alumni, we want our HBCUs to be on the highest platform. So you're on ABC, you're getting 1 million, 2 million views for the Celebration Bowl. That's great representation, plus the surefire money on the side for the schools and for the programs. But to play in the playoffs, you're playing against what is said to be the best teams in the FCS, and we want our HBCUs on that flip side. We want the exposure, we want the money, but we also want to show people that our guys, Davius Richard, Mookie Collier, all these different folks, we can go against New Hampshire, we can go against Richmond and win. But I feel like we don't ask the players how y'all feel about it enough. So the Celebration Bowl, the playoffs, both of them have their benefits and all them things like that. But how do you feel? Like, which one did you prefer more?
I mean, no doubt, I'll say I'll say the Celebration Bowl, because I mean, like you said, that LCS is, I appreciate both of them, honestly, and that LCS is going to be like, all right, we're going against these top teams to really prove ourselves. But I only really say the Celebration Bowl because you can do that throughout the season. We done played a number of CAA teams, so if you want to play those teams that be in the playoff area, this and that, you can schedule them during the regular season. But it's only like one time during that season that you can say, all right, I'm the best team in HBCU ball. You're not going to have a schedule of 10 games, 11 games full of straight and swacking me at teams. But you can't go out there and schedule games with the North Dakota State, South Dakota States, the Elon, the Campbells, and then those teams at the end of the season be ranked. And then you in the Celebration Bowl, but they're in the playoffs and you beat them and they ranked. So it's like they got the pros and cons. And then you can go from the ranking standpoint. Like the previous year we played same schedule as far as FCS teams and HBCUs, and we went to the Celebration Bowl, but we still came into that season ranked. So it's like, even if you want to get ranked, you can do that. Or you can just look at Jackson State. They came into that game ranked. They was went undefeated 2 years in a row. So it's like, it got its pros and cons, but me personally, I like the Celebration Bowl. Like, I'm all for the Celebration Bowl. That's basically the Super Bowl.
Listen, that makes me happy. And listen, I was gonna be fine either way. This is the interview. It's gonna be an interview regardless. People gonna talk. But that's how we was like, the Celebration Bowl is like that. That is our Super Bowl. Everyone doesn't have that. And even on like HBCU game day, we're gonna move on to just the other portions of the interview. But like, even on HBCU game day, they had like a conversation with Richmond's coach. And it was like, I was watching North Carolina Central in the Celebration Bowl. Like, we don't have the opportunity because the playoffs is our North Star. That's what we do. Who's watching Central in the Celebration Bowl room for Central? So it's wild that like that is like the conversation, the general consensus, but we still have debates about it on Twitter. It's what people have their opinions, but it's crazy to me.
Yeah, people gonna have their opinion. Then you gotta understand it's different viewpoints. Like a coach gonna have a different opinion than me. I'm just a player. I'm playing in the game. A coach got a different reason to either pick which one he probably want to do or go to. Because it's like, there's a lot of things that play into it. So at the end of the day, it's always going to just be an opinion. So you're never going to have a for sure answer as far as which one is more beneficial or X, Y, and Z.
That's true. Let me ask you this before we move on. So one part of it is that I think some folks on the FCS side, because I don't think that their viewpoint is necessarily wrong, but I feel like they also want you all to get tape against like the top teams. Like this North Dakota State, for example, like North Dakota State, like they're the ones, like you got like a lot of these other teams, South Dakota State, they're the ones, they won back to back. So they want you to get that tape doing RPO against them, you throwing on them, you running to the end zone on them, because that makes it look better in that perception of, hey, he can contend against the best players at this level versus just HBCUs. But just my thing on it is I feel like it down rates HBCU players saying, well, they're not the best, and I don't like that perception. So what do you think about that level of it, of the film element of it?
I understand what they're saying. Like, of course, like now I said, it all comes to a personal point of view. Scouts or coaches or whoever it may be gonna have different reasons. Like me, my education and stuff is limited. I'm nothing but 23, so I can't really say as far as the experience of like the reasons that go behind it. But I understand where they're coming from as far as the competition, as far as saying like South Dakota or North Dakota being like the pinnacles of like FCS football and playing against those teams and saying like, all right, do he play the same way? Or like if it's the same level of results. So I understand. So I mean, it's not a wrong or right answer, honestly. So it's like it's like pick a side or your choice.
Yeah, and I think that's valid. I think that is the right way to look at it. Listen, thank you. Because when you get drafted to the NFL, we're gonna be like, what? He played in the FCS playoffs and the Celebration Bowl. So I mean, I guess we all win at this point. I guess we all won when you get drafted, because we all win, and you're gonna win for sure. But let's talk about this element of it, right? So what are you most proud of in your North Carolina Central career? Just like the totality of all of it, the Celebration Bowl, the FCS playoffs, the freshman year and coming in as a starter. Like, what are you the most proud of in your career as an Eagle?
I don't even really think it got nothing to do with football. I'm a big like relationship type of guy as far as the relationship, the connections you make. And I feel like that's what's kind of going to impact me the most as far as me leaving there and further down the line. Is those connections that I made and the people that I ran into as far as my teammates, people in the academic staff, or like people in the support staff or the coaching staff of the team. And it just like shows, like it started showing fluctuations right now. Like I was just, when I was training in Tennessee, one of our old DFOs is at the University of Tennessee. I was able to call him up and meet up with him and talk with him because we had that relationship from my freshman year. It's not like This not like 2023 or 2022. I met this man my freshman year. He was gone probably like after the 21 season. And I'm still able to call him, pick up the phone, and be like, yeah, how you doing? How everything been? Or even just like I said, I'm on my way. I'm in Tennessee. Oh yeah, man, let's meet up for lunch. Let me see you, man. I ain't see you in a minute. So it's like those relationships, and then that's where I feel like I'm most proud of coming through Central. Man, that's just the relationship that I made with the people there.
Wow. I think that's something that's important. And I'm glad that you got that experience. I'm glad you're our guy, man, the HBCU guy in general. We had like Devontae Kincaid when I was at Fort Valley. Like, I was the guy. He was like that. Then it's like, we got you. And it's like, yo, like, we got someone that can really get into the league and make it happen and really sort of break what seems like a curse. Because we get HBCU players that are drafted at the defensive positions, at the offensive line, defensive line, defensive backs, but like we don't get really the quarterback. And that's not happened since Tarvaris Jackson 2006. So oftentimes we look at, okay, what is the comp? Like Davius Richard, is he Lamar Jackson? Is he Jalen Hurts? See, I gotta tell you that I got a different perception of my comparison for you. And I talked about it on HBCU Post Radio. All right. You like Steve McNair to me. All right, and a lot of people gonna hit us be like Steve McNair, but look at how Steve McNair played. Like Steve McNair, like was a dual threat. He had an arm, he can run. Like he really was dynamic. He was really that guy that was a playmaker that was going and getting those wins. So like when I look at your game, like, I feel like sometimes, I'm not saying people are lazy, but I feel like we look at a black quarterback, so he can run Lamar. Oh, he can run Jalen Hurts. But you got to look back at that history. Steve McNair was like the prototype for that dual threat quarterback. So like, what do you think the comp is? Does my comp make sense? Because you the football guy, you know.
No, it definitely does. Like I understand what you see, and Steve McNair was a heck of a player. Like I feel like it'll be kind of a disservice to even sound like him, just how great he was. Because like what he did at Alcorn State, even been like in the Heisman talk, and then been dropped there what he did in the NFL. So it was like we do got guys like that. We do have the Steves in there. We do have Doug Williams. We do have the Shaq Harris. So it's like we got guys. We didn't have guys, but like you said, and I think it's just like a more modern time, like right now think as far as comp. They're not gonna really think about it, go too far back and think about guys like that. They're gonna be like, all right, who's in the league right now, or whose name's been buzzing, and who does he play like? That's why they always say, like, all right, they may say Lamar, or they might say Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts just played for Super Bowl not too long ago. He's more to dual threat. Lamar just won a 2-time MVP. He's more of a dual threat, so that's why a lot of the times those kind of comparisons come. It's just because of the relevancy as far as like what's happening right now in today's time.
So based on that, so if we're going by now, because we can go into history, we could talk about the history, but like now, like Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, even like Josh Allen, like who do you think resembles your play style? Because I watched the interview you just did, and I think the conversation was more so about Jalen Hurts. I know I don't see that, because a lot of people say like Jalen Hurts is a great runner, but they try to downplay his arm. Like I feel like Lamar, with my Lamar jersey, I feel like Lamar got the arm. We'll play about Lamar passing ability. But like, what do you think is your best comp?
Personally, I feel like it kind of is hard to just narrow it down. It's like a mixture. I do understand like the Jalen Hurts comp as far as like how he plays, his running style, as far as that, and also what he does in the pocket with his arm. And then Lamar also just like his running style, what he does in the pocket. But if anything, I don't want to say really Lamar. I feel like he's a hell of an athlete. Like he's more shiftier and things of that nature. So if I got to go out, I either have to say either Jalen Hurts or kind of just like a Josh Allen type vibe. So it's either one of those guys.
Hey, that makes sense. I definitely see the Josh Allen side of it. I see that for sure. Just how like you're able to make those plays. Like that one play against Howard was crazy. Like that one play where like you took off for that touchdown. That was wild. Like that give me like Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts low-key did the same thing against Josh Allen. As I think about it, like that game winning run, that's crazy. So like, let's talk about this. So one thing we fight against as HBCU alumni is sort of perception of HBCUs. We see it in academics, but in athletics, it's a big thing. So when it comes to players, we want our best players to play at HBCUs, but we talked to some folks that made it to the NFL, and they say, well, I went to an HBCU, but I didn't think that I would get the attention that goes with playing at an HBCU. And maybe if I went somewhere else, I would have got drafted higher. Or I left because, hey, I want to make it to the NFL and I love my people and I love my HBCU experience, but I'm trying to make it to that next level to change the trajectory of my life, my family's life, my mom's life. So we look at that when it comes to HBCU players and trying to get them to that NFL level. So like, what do you think? Like, do you think that going to an HBCU, you're going to be able to get that opportunity? Or like, do you think it's credence to saying, hey, well, going to the FBS school or maybe going to that non-HBCU FCS school like in North Dakota State, that would get me further in my dream of going to the NFL?
I love about like my biggest thing, like as far as like being at HBCU, if you can play, you're going to get noticed. Like no matter where you at. Like Chief Joshua Williams, DB, Fayetteville State. Like he got like it don't matter where you coming from. Like they got scouts for every single division, looking at every single school. Like if you on your level and you making plays, your name is buzzing, they gonna come. And then just been this past season, I'm just throughout the duration of the season of practice, just watching this amount of scouts that come through the facility, like throughout the weeks of practice, 2-3 scouts a day. Every other day of scouts coming. Then just going to the Hula Bowl and the Legacy Bowl, being able to talk to scouts. Like, so it's like, that was kind of like a little scary or like a little concern as far as like, oh, you think you're going to get the looks of the NFL being at HBCU, this and that. But I had to pride myself, like I said previously, like I'm a big believer in God. And then if it's in his plans for me to make it done and get drafted and things of that nature, it don't matter where I play at. If it's already set, I just got to do what I do as far as coming to work every day and working hard. And then no matter what level I'm at. Because as you can see, I got NFL attention playing at HBCU all 4 years. Never went up. I didn't come from a FBS and came back down. So you can't come out and say, oh, he went to the big program and he already had kind of that attention. They already knew about him. No, it's like I came into HBCU unknown, not a high recruit out of high school, no stars, things of that nature. And I came to HBCU and made my name and made a name for myself as far as like within that kind of conversation as far as like, all right, we talking quarterbacks. Who do we got? All right, we got the FBS guys, this and that. All right, who we got? FCS. All right, this and that. You know what? Who is this guy in HBCU? Oh, Davius Richard. So then it's like, you can make it happen no matter where you at. So it's like, you can say, oh, biggest guy get a lot of more attention, this and that. But at the end of the day, if you can play, they're going to come find you. Like, I'm a living product of that. I seen the coaches come through the facility on like a random Tuesday, a random Wednesday. You think it's going to be you just think it's a regular day. Next thing you know, you practicing, you see looks on the sideline, you see the Eagles, you see the Falcons, you see the Vikings, things of that nature. So it's like, if you can play, they're going to find you the more of the story.
Man, I love that, man. That's real. See, this is why you're a guy. Like when you get drafted, because I'm speaking it like that's how I do. I speak it to existence. Like because when you get drafted and you the first quarterback since Tarvaris Jackson in 2006 to get drafted, that's why you're gonna be our guy because you're gonna put on that next level and you're gonna make it happen. And see, I'm looking at the reports. I got to write about it as the lead editor of HBCU content for Clutch Points. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, listen, you got the Eagles looking at you, got the Bears looking at you. Glad the Falcons. I'm a Georgia guy, so I'm a Falcons guy too. Is looking at you. Now I'm a little bit upset that the Ravens ain't looking like they might be looking. They might be like, we gonna lay low. We already know what's up because I'm like, because the Ravens gotta get. Come on, man. Because like, listen, like Lamar needs some rest. Lamar, he get hurt or something. You got Lamar Jackson potential in Davius Richard. Like I said, Derrick Henry, RPO. You say nah, Derrick, wait for this one. You gonna run for the end zone. Like that's what I'm looking for when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Because Ravens my team, low key. But I gotta ask you about this. So you got all these teams that are interesting to you for real. And we see, like, for example, Emmanuel Wilson from Fort Valley and for John C. Smith doing his thing with the Packers in the playoffs. You see Joshua Williams, 2-time Super Bowl champion. So there are HBCU players getting selected and getting picked. But like I said, it's this misconception, I think, around the HBCU quarterback and why our quarterbacks aren't getting drafted. So just this as a final thing for this interview, like, what's your pitch to teams to get you taken off of that board as the first HBCU player drafted since Tarvaris Jackson?
My pitch would be just picture who I am at the end of the day. Like I'm not going to change. I'll be the same guy. As far as on the field wise, I'm still going to be that versatile guy. Always that versatile guy as far as being able to offer in both aspects of offense. If you need a passing game, we know this defense not that good. We can go a little bit more pass heavy. You need me to sit in the pocket. I'm able to sit in the pocket, go through my reads. I'm able to mic ID point, redirect, see potential blitzes coming, run checks, pass checks to get us in a perfect play or a better play for that situation. So as far as the passing aspect, I got that. And now as you said, dual threat. Rushing the bill, I got that to extend plays, to break the pocket, throwing a run. But a couple extra seconds for somebody to get open. Or if it's within that RPO to pick up a first down, 5-10 yards, or that big home run, I'm able to do that. And then just not even limited to just the physical part of me, of my quarterback play. The mental side, like kind of spoke on earlier. I feel like the reason we had a lot of success is because me and my offensive coordinator was on the same page. I kind of spoke in one of the other interviews. Tom Brady also talked about it. He felt like one of the biggest things is offensive coordinators trying to play chess while quarterbacks are probably on the field playing checkers. And all that come down to, as the offensive coordinator watching film, they look looking for tendencies. They break it down the defense. All right, anytime on first down, we coming fresh off the sideline, this is where they usually run. So they tendency is to run. You know what? They run cover 4 like 50% of the time, cover 3 this other, whatever. Or with third down, 30 long, they're going to go forward, cover 4. 30 medium, they get a little bit man heavy. 30 short, they nothing but man. So having those kind of breakdowns as an offensive coordinator, then be able to transfer it to me, and I have the same understanding, because the quarterback is nothing but an extension of the offensive coordinator. So me knowing those tendencies, all right, 30 long, I'm expected to cover 4. 30 short, expected to cover 2, man coverage. But by saying chess, it's like on the field, you got to be able to make adjustments. So just because they got a tendency on me, they're going to do it every time. And that's like what a lot of our third down success come at, as far as knowing what they're doing pre-snap, or we like to run certain runs versus this front. If they come out in a different front, we got to run a different play. So knowing that, as far as like knowing what defenses look like, what are their tendencies, how they usually line up when they send this blitz, what are their cover 0 tells, like what's tells, like, all right, they about to go cover 0. All right, now I got to get a cover 0 check, take advantage of it. Or we call the man coverage beater, they come out of cover 2, and like, all right, we can't run man coverage. What concepts this week do we like versus cover 2? I feel like that plays a big part of my game, and the reason why we were so successful, because me and my offensive coordinator had that connection and had the same understanding as far as our game plan, and being able to make in-game changes when need to be.
Man, I love it. Hey, that's a pitch for you, man. Listen, you are a student of the game. I feel like this the HBCU version of LeBron new podcast. Telling you like breaking down the X's and O's. Like I'm the black JJ Redick. All right, I'm just listening. Like, yeah, I'm writing it down. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you gave a lot of game, man, making it happen. Like, man, we're excited for you first and foremost. We're proud of you for everything like that, man, you've done in general at this HBC level, man. You put on for us, you gave us great moments. The Celebration Bowl is always going to be an epic moment to go back to. And you put on for North Carolina Central, you put on for your hometown, your home state, all the different stuff, and we room for you, man. You're going to be selected off that board, like no matter what. And no matter what, you playing in the league, because anybody, like, listen, if y'all don't pick Davius Richard, y'all fired, okay? Like that. At this point, and it's the Ravens, they fired too. The Ravens were gonna fire them too, and they don't pick you. And the Falcons, they fired too. Like, listen, they did good with Kirk Cousins, they fired too. Because you cut Cousins next person, you're gonna be the starter after Cut Cousins. I'm telling you. Let me start. But man, listen, Davius, it was amazing talking to you, man. Super proud of you, super excited for us to come for you. Before we go to everyone where they can find you on social media, and also how we can support you.
Instagram, you can find me at 11GWR, Twitter at Davius Richard, and then just support, just doing the same thing I've been getting since I came to college, as far as just like support on the media, as far as me inviting me to do interviews and things of that nature. Just always just love and support, and just whatever institute or HBCU that you're a part of, go back and show love there. At the end of the day, only way as a HBCU family, we're going to get above, or we're going to continue to progress if we continue to pour it back into it. So all the alumni, former players, even current players and things of that nature, I mean, go back and check on the team. Go back and talk to them boys. Or if you can donate this, things of that nature, donate back to your facility, because you'll never know how it helps somebody. That may be a walk-on scholarship for somebody or things of that nature. So always just come back and show support. That's the biggest way that you can show support, either me or just the HBCU world in general.
Yes, sir. Listen, Davius Richard, the HBCU champion, man. We appreciate you for coming on. We can't wait to see what's going up next, man. You're listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.